It was the size of a monster or a tree, but it was a figure. And it looked at him. He couldn't see the face. He just saw how big it was. And he backed up Ichabod. And he called out in his own special voice, "Who are you?" There was no answer. And he asked a couple more times and still no answer. And so Ichabod thought, well, I'll just be going my way. And he turns his horse, gunpowder. They start riding away from this figure, and the figure starts to move, and it starts to follow him. And why? He goes at one pace, and this dark figure goes at the same pace. He slows down, the figure slows down. They got to the top of a ridge, and there was more light up there from the stars. And Ichabod, for the very first time, got to see more detail. He went, "It's not just a man. It's a big man on a big horse. And he doesn't have a head." And he looked, oh, he does have a head, but the head's on the pommel of his saddle. It's the Hessian. And he turned and he started to kick and whip old Gunpowder, and they began to go as fast as possible. And of course, the headless horseman didn't want to be left behind. He goes chasing after Ichabod. They get closer and closer to that bridge, and all Ichabod is thinking, if I can only get to that bridge, if I can only get to that bridge, maybe we get there. Then this guy will just disappear in the smoking fire. Oh, please, please, please. And they're running. The saddle came loose, and it began to slide under Ichabod. And pretty soon it just slipped completely off. Now he's just hanging on to Gunpowder's neck, and he's bouncing up and down. Bang, bang, bang on top of a plow horse. Now, how many of you ride horses? Oh, well, you know, if you're riding a horse, it's nice to have that saddle. If you didn't have a saddle, you'd be hitting bone under that skin. And boy, he's just hitting in all kinds of places he doesn't want to be hit in. And he's bang, bang, bang on top of that horse. And he's just hanging on for his dear life. And finally, they reach the bridge. And he's going, I can really see him. He turns around and he looks just in time to see the headless horse pick the head up off the pommel of the saddle and throw it. And it hit Ichabod right in the head, knocked him clear off the horse, down into the dusty trail, and zoom, off goes Gunpowder. Zoom, off goes the black specter of the headless horseman. Now, the next day, people are expecting Ichabod to show up for breakfast. You know that boy, he can eat his weight. He didn't show up for breakfast. Waited for Ichabod to show up for dinner. He didn't show up for dinner either. In fact, nobody in that town ever really saw him again. They went out and they investigated. They found the saddle down in the middle of the trail, and it was a very special saddle. No Ichabod. They went out by the bridge. They found his hat that had fallen off when he was hit in the face. You know what else they found? Nope, they didn't find Ichabod. What'd they find? Say again? No? Oh, Gunpowder went home. I mean, you know how horses will, when they don't have a rider, they just go back to where they know they're going to be fed, watch TV. Oh, no, they didn't have TV yet. All right, one more person. Right over there. Yes. What did they find? The hat. The head? Well, they found... Oh, okay. What? Say that again.
Pumpkin.
A smashed pumpkin.
Aww.
A smashed pumpkin, huh? You're all pretty good detectives. I think you figured out what happened, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Ichabod never came back to live there. Some say one farmer from that area went on a trip and he heard about an Ichabod Crane who had become a lawyer and was writing letters, and he finally became a judge. Never went back to Sleepy Hollow. And the Dutch wives who'd sit around at night telling these same stories over and over again, why, they figured that what had happened to Ichabod was he was carried off by the Hessian. Carried off to wherever that fellow went when the night's over and the sun comes out. Now you might be wondering about Katrina and about Front Bones. They got married. It was predictable. They got married and everybody gathered and there were stories. And why, it was kind of curious to watch Front Bones because he loved to hear people tell the stories of Ichabod Crane, his last bride. When they get to the part of the pumpkin, why, he just laughs. And you know, there's a look in his eye like he knows something he's not telling. And my friends, that is my version for you tonight of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow.